Welcome to this video on using form field validation in FixFlow. In this video we will explore different types of validation, setting up mandatory fields, setting up a minimum or maximum length, defining a mandatory pattern, and how validation is applied. Firstly, select the field you wish to add validation to, making sure that the inner input field is selected. The properties for this field will show on the right. Scroll down to the validation section. If validation has already been set on the attribute on the backing table, the toggle will be on, or a validation type will show here, but the box will be unticked to show this is inherited. To override this, simply tick the box. If you are using the serene grey template, a number of validation types will be supplied and can be seen in the validation type drop-down. Hover over each one to see the full name. To set an input field as mandatory, simply tick the mandatory box and toggle this on. Let's see this in action. Here you can see an asterisk above the field to show it is mandatory. A red outline will show when a mandatory field has not been filled in. The asterisk and red outline are set in the serene grey template. The red outline shows when changing the value in a field, or when a form is loaded with data in it, such as an edit form. To set up a field's minimum or maximum character length, select the green Add button to create a new validation type. Enter a useful name. Select a base type to indicate the type of data expected in the field. If you are using a base type of string, this defines the number of characters that can be entered, including spaces. Enter the minimum number of characters you wish the field to allow, or the maximum number of characters. Or you can set up both to ensure the number of characters is kept within a defined range. Let's see this in action. If you are using a base type of number or integer, this defines the numeric range. You also have the option to enter an error message, which will show when you mouse over a field where the conditions of the validation are not met. Let's see this in action. To set up a validation pattern that only allows users to input predefined numbers, letters or symbols, add a new validation type. Define the pattern the input must adhere to using a regular expression. If you would like to read more on this topic, search for regular expressions on the help pages. Enter an error message and short description. Let's now see our pattern validation in action. Form field validation will highlight the fields that have failed validation to your users, but will not stop the form being saved. To stop the form being saved, open the action flow on the Save button and click Properties, then tick the option Perform validation before running. With this set, when users click Save on the form, the validation will run and show if any fields have failed validation. This will then not allow the user to save the form until they have resolved the validation errors. To allow the form to be saved with validation errors, tick the option Allow to run with validation errors on the action flow for the Save button. This will run the validation when the user clicks the Save button and will allow the form to be saved even with outstanding validation errors. This may be needed if your users are filling out a large form and need to save their progress to return to it later. That's all for this video. If you would like more information about adding validation in FixFlow, search validation in the help pages.